and we've talked about several versions of their history, like that of the Reverend Johnson's version. We have that of the who can remind us now? Okay, Aaron First version, and which other one did we talk about? So those are the versions of the history of the Yoruba that we have. Mm, So today we'll talk about another thing, still under the Yoruba people. But today we want to talk about their socio-political organization. That's how they structure their politics. The socio-political organization of the Yoruba. That's what we're here to do tonight. Oyo is best known as the major kingdom that eventually emerged as an empire in Yoruba land. This statement is very important. In fact, I'm very sure some of you will meet it in the TMA. Dash is best known as the major kingdom that eventually emerged as an empire in Yoruba land. That is Oyo. So various traditions believe that Oyo was founded by Oromiyan. Another question. In fact, it's like this whole paragraph is full of questions for TMA and even for exams. Various traditions believe that Oyo was founded by Oromiyan, the son of Odudua, who is also credited with establishing the present Benin monarchy. Oyo Empire was founded in the middle of the 15th century. Another statement to put to mind. Oyo Empire was founded in the middle of the dash century, 15th century. Now, a century later, it became very powerful and prosperous, extending its authority as far as Dahomey. This is a very important one too. The authority of the Oyo Empire was extended to which place? To Dahomey. So this is the socio-political organization of the Yoruba people. Basically, they believe that the whole empire of Oyo, is a work of Oromiyan, the son of Odudua. And that same Oromiyan was the one who established or was credited with the establishment of the Benin monarchy. This whole Oyo story, Oyo was founded in the middle of the 15th century. That is around 1550 something. And of course, a century later, that is in the 16th century, the Oyo extended its authority to Dahomey. That is the summary of that part. Put it in mind. There are some things you have to put your mind on in that particular paragraph, like the issue of Oyo being the only kingdom that emerged in the Yoruba Empire, so that emerged as an empire in the Yoruba land. Put in mind that Oromiyan was one that founded Oyo, and Oromiyan is the son of Odudua. You should also know that Oromiyan is the one credited with the establishment of the Benin monarchy, while Oyo was founded in the 15th century, and in the 16th century, its authority was extended to Dahomey. Once you know all these facts, you grabbed this paragraph. So the next thing is the Alaafin Administration. The Alaafin is basically the ruling power in Oyo Empire. You understand? That is the king, the head of the empire. So let's see what they have for us here. So we have a whole lot of people no longer here, but I don't mind. Now, the Oyo Empire was very unique and exceptional in its system. Please, if you are unable to hear me at any point, call my attention so that I adjust my Wi-Fi. Oyo Empire was very unique and exceptional in its system of government. For instance, in the 16th century, Oyo was one of the rare empires that had inbuilt checks and balances. I think the statement is very important. Oyo was one of the rare empires that had inbuilt checks and balances, and this contributed to its stability for centuries. Exactly. This contributed to its stability for centuries is one recurring question in TMA. Yes. So checks and balances contributed to the stability of Oyo for centuries. Please put it in mind. The Alaafin was the head of the empire, who was the head of the empire of the Oyo kingdom, the Alaafin, and was resident in the capital. Oh, goodness, this is a question. I'll show you the TMA question for last semester. You will see this question there. I see have those questions on my system. Last semester TMA, this question was there for everyone. The Alaafin was the head of the empire and was resident in the capital. And in fact, this question came out in the exam, not only in TMA, we met it in TMA, we also saw it in the exam. I wrote the exam last semester too. So he was also regarded as Lord of many lands. Who was regarded as Lord of many lands? Let's see if you guys are following. Who was regarded as Lord of many lands? Yes, the Alaafin. Thank you. So the Alaafin was assisted in his administration by a retinue of officials made up of priests, officials, and eunuchs. He had a well-organized court as well. Now, theoretically, the Alaafin was a fountain of authority and was therefore regarded as the companion of the gods. So, if you are asked in any form, who is regarded as the companion of the gods? That is the Alaafin. Please put it in mind. Sometimes he had an autocratic tendency, but in practice, his powers were often limited and regulated by the Oyomesi. Oyomesi were the ones that can check and balance the way the Alaafin exhibits his power. So we have Oyomesi there as a check watchdog for the Alaafin. This is so funny. So you guys are just seeing the screen now. This network is somehow, wow. Since we started the class, a council of 7 members headed by Bashorun. This is another TMA question. I think I also met it in my own exam, both TMA and exam. This question is very important. A council of 7 members headed by Dash. That's how they used to ask the question. A council of 7 members headed by Dash, who acted as the prime minister, headed by Bashorun. Headed by Bashorun. We are just looking at the Yoruba people. And I think the broad topic we are treating now is the Alaafin Administration. The Alaafin is the head of the Oyo Kingdom. And since we are checking, or we are actually studying the Yoruba people, we are using the Oyo Empire as a case study. So we are looking at the administration, the way they operate the administration of Oyo land, or Oyo Kingdom, as it may be. So now we've talked about the Alaafin, the head of the empire. We have the Oyomesi. They serve like chiefs that check and balances the mode of operation or the authority of the Alaafin himself. And then we have Bashorun, who is the head of the Council of 7, and their own function is to act as prime ministers. And also we have the Oyomesi. Okay, let's talk further on the Oyomesi. Now, the members of Oyomesi, we are king makers as well. So those who are king makers are the Oyomesi. And that's why they have the power or the authority to say, to check and balance how the Alaafin exhibits his control of power or his authority. So at the demise of at the demise of the Alaafin, they were the ones to select his successor. The Oyomesi also had the power to remove any Alaafin, especially when he appeared dictatorial or transgressed the laws of the land. That means when the man is acting like a dictator. What did you say? You can't hear me. Is that person saying he or she can't hear me? Please, someone should confirm that. I hope you can hear me. Are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, I hear you.
Now this network is somehow.
Yes, yes,
Okay. I just hope you can hear me truly. Because even your responses, I'm hearing it in echo. Like the network is somehow tonight. Okay. Now we have talked about the Oyomesi.
I can hear
How
you, sir.
powerful, okay, thank you. How powerful the Oyomesi are in the administration of the Oyo Empire. They serve as kingmakers. They can remove the king. They are the one that, put in the new king when one dies. So those are their functions. So, and they, usually the deposed Alaafin was expected to commit suicide. That means when the Oyomesi removes any Alaafin from the position of the Alaafin, which is the king to say, the expected end of that Alaafin is that the Alaafin is expected to kill himself, which is suicide. So the Ogboni Cult administration was still studying the Yoruba land. We've talked about the socio-political organization of the Yoruba land, or the Yoruba people rather, and we'll talk about the administration of the Alaafin. Now we're going to the Ogboni Cult administration. There's one common question they ask under this part of the material, which is always that the Ogboni Cult had a very vital position in the dash, in the Yoruba society. Normally they used to put in the dash society, in the Yoruba society, the Ogboni Cult. So when you hear about Ogboni, what your mind should go to straight is the Yoruba people. That's what they're trying to say. Now, apart from the Alaafin cabinet, members of the Oyomesi court constituted another arm of government. It was a very powerful court. It was composed of free and prominent members of the society as well as members of the Oyomesi. The Ogboni court had a very vital position in Yoruba society. Please, I repeat again, put this thing in mind. When you see it in Teme, you will recall that I mentioned it, I stressed it, that this is a potential question both in Teme and exam. The Ogboni Court had a very vital position in Yoruba society. Now, it played a mediatory role in any conflict between the Oyomesi and the Alaafin. It was a kind of counterpower to the Oyomesi as well. You know that earlier on we mentioned that the Oyomesi are somehow more powerful than the Alaafin. The Alaafin is the head of the land, like the king, elected king, that is the Alaafin. But the Oyomesi are the kingmakers. So they have more power over the king. If the king should misbehave, they have the authority to check and balance the operations of the king, the Alaafin. Now, we also have another set of people, somehow more powerful than the Oyomesi, such that if the Oyomesi and the Alaafin are into some kind of conflict with each other, there is one authority greater than both of them that can come in to settle the riot or the conflict. That is, or those are the Ogboni Cult members. So the Ogboni Cult members are more powerful than the Oyomesi. The Oyomesi have more power than the Alaafin, although the Alaafin is the head of the empire or the kingdom. Now we also have another, what we are just looking at now is the socio-political organization of the Yoruba people. And we've looked at several, divisions, like the Alaafin Administration. We look at the uh, Oyomesi, right? We look at the Ogboni Cult Administration. I'm going back so that you see what we've done so far. We started from the socio-political organization of the Yoruba. We've treated the Alaafin Administration, and you know who the Alaafin is, and those that check and balance the authority of the Alaafin, which is the Oyomesi. And then we have the Bashorum. We've mentioned the Bashorum, a group of 7 members headed by the Bashorum called Prime Minister. Bashorum act as Prime Minister. The Oyomesi were kingmakers and so on. Then we'll talk about the Ogboni Cult, which is a court who has more authority than both the Alaafin and the Oyomesi. So they now serve as check and balance for the contour of power between the Alaafin and the Oyomesi. Now we have another set of people under this administration. When we say administration, this is just like different arms that join together, to hold the symbol of authority for that empire. Just like in Nigeria, we have the legislative, the executive, and then I think the judiciary. So in Oyo, we have the Alaafin cabinet, we have the Oyomesi, we have the Ogboni Cult, we have the Bashorum, those are prime ministers. And then another set of people we have here under the administration, we have the army. Now, the army was another arm of government in traditional Yoruba society. It was very organized. Its head was conferred with the coveted title of Are Ona Kakanfo. So now, Are Ona Kakanfo is the head of the army. Please, very important. There's one question that normally comes out on Are Ona Kakanfo, but we are not there yet. When I get to that question, I will draw your attention to it. It was made up of infantry and cavalry. The Are Ona Kakanfo was expected to live outside the capital. The army was credited with performing important functions, which included stability of the empire. So one of the functions of the army, this is the question I'm trying to recall. The army was credited with performing important functions, which included dash, the stability of the empire. But that is not the only thing they normally. In fact, the most common way they ask this question is they will say the army was credited with performing important functions, which included stability of the empire, expansion, as well as keeping dissident territories in check. That is the answer. In fact, another way they ask it is that they don't put all this grammar. They just say the army was credited with performing important functions to keep dissident territories in dash. And there's another way they ask it. All on this, the army. But the answer is always check, to put the territory in check. So no matter how they twist the question, you should know that the primary function of the army in the administration of the Yoruba land is to keep the territories, the dissident territories in what? In check. Now, Oyo Empire also had provincial government. That's another question. Very important one. In fact, mostly in TMAs. Oyo Empire also had provincial dash. So when they ask you that, don't say provincial headquarters or provincial power. It is what? Provincial government. Very important. Please, let's be putting those important ones in mind. They are very useful. So let's move on. They were modeled after the central government. They were administered by princes, minor kings, and baales, provincial governors. Baales are provincial governors. All of them were subject to the overlordship of the Alaafin. What that means is that the reason why we put all these people in place is just to check and balance the way the Alaafin, uses its authority. The provincial government enjoy considerable autonomy, but the Alaafin had personal agents called Ilari. That's another question. The Alaafin had personal agents called dash Ilari. All over the provinces. Yes, the Ilaris are all over the provinces. Now, the Alaafin used the Bere annual festival periods to acknowledge the renewal of allegiance of the provincial governors to him. This is a question, but they don't ask it in full. They just say that the Alaafin used the dash annual festival periods to acknowledge the allegiance of provincial government. Okay, sometimes they don't ask it, but they just say the Alaafin used the dash annual festival. That is where they stop it. You are the one to know that it is the Bere. The answer is always this Bere. They will put some other options there, but the answer is what? Bere annual festival. Now, I think we can, before I proceed, I would like to ask you some questions, because the next we are going into now is the Benin people. But to check if we have truly gone through the Yoruba people very well, so I'd like someone to explain the socio-political organization of the Yoruba people in summary, in your own view. We've talked about several things: the organization, the administration, starting from the Alaafin, the Bashorun, the Oyomesi, the Ogboni Cult, the Laris are there, the army, and the rest of them. So someone should summarize everything we've talked about on the Yoruba people's administration. Yes, how many of us are still here?
Hi.
Okay, you're welcome, Esther. Please proceed.
So we talked about the social political organization of Yoruba administration. You said that we have you said that Oyo was founded by the Oromiyan, the son of Oduduwa. Then you said that Oyo Empire was founded in the middle of 15th century. It was very powerful and prosperous. And it also talk about their Alaafin administration. You said that it was unique. They have checks and balances. That is headed by the head of the emperor, and the Alaafin is assisted by priests, officials, and eunuchs. We also said that the Alaafins, like there's a check and balances in differences. Like we have the Alaafin, the Ogboni, and the Oyomesi. So they check each other, they checkmate each other, and if the Alaafin is found guilty or found wanted, is thereby to commit suicide. We also say that we have the Alaafin of Oyo, we have the Oyomesi, we have the Bashorun, we have the Ogboni. And you also said that
Talk.
if I'm right, he said the members of Oyomesi are the priests and the officials. That's what I noted down. He also said that the Ogboni Cult constituted of armies of government, which is very powerful.
Oh, that's quite unfortunate. And she's actually doing well. Okay, somebody said I thought it's GST202. GST202 is still coming up, not now. Esther, you've done well. It's like your network is actually giving you some issues there. So I think you've pointed us to most of the important facts that we,
Sorry, my network
yes,
went
I noticed that.
pum.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yes, yes. Mm.
So you still have the floor if you want to continue. So, okay, we've done justice to the Yoruba people. Now let's go to the Benin people. Are you sure we should go to Benin people tonight?
So you also said that um, we also said that we have the head of army
These are networks.
and is headed by. Thank you.
Okay, so that is a nice one.
You can
Thank
still
you.
try.
Yes, you've done a whole lot. We are not going to enter the Benin people tonight. I want us to digest one per class. The material is not that bulky, so it's what we'll still cover before the exams. Exams are still coming up by November, so we'll see after November. We'll finish everything and even do the summary. So tonight, let's just take it like we've talked about the socio-political organization of the Yoruba people. And we have looked at the skeleton part of the administration. That means the Alaafin Administration and just everything that evolves around the administration of the Yoruba people. We have the Alaafin, the Ogboni, the court, sorry, the Ogboni's court, the army, and under each of them, we also have subcategories of people that, hold symbols of authority. Like under the Alaafin administration, we have the Alaafin himself, we have the Oyomesi, we have the Bashorun, and we have some special uh, members or officials that also help the Alaafin in the administration, which we call priests, officials, and eunuchs. And for the Oyomesi, we say they are the kingmakers. They are the one that, they can remove a king if the king is found wanting. And when a king is removed, the king is expected to what? Commit suicide. The Ogboni's court have more authority than the Alaafin and the Oyomesi, such that when Alaafin and Oyomesi are into some uh, issues or some conflict, the Ogboni are the ones to settle the matter. We have the army, and under the army, we have the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, the head of the army. He doesn't stay within the state or the capital. He lives outside the capital. And we have the function of the army. The primary function of the army is to keep the territories in check. Don't forget. We have the baales under the army. The baales are also called the provincial governors. We have the personal agents, which we call Elari. And we also learned that the Alaafin use the Bere annual festival festival period to acknowledge the renewal of allegiance of the provincial governors. That is, the provincial governors are the baales, don't forget. So that is all we've done tonight on the Yoruba people. Please, do you have any question? Let's entertain some questions and contribution before we end. In fact, this part we've done tonight, you If you followed it very well, you have about 5 questions answered already, which you will still see in your TMA or exams. So let's see how it goes. So anybody with question? The floor is open for questions, contributions, and any other thing. I'm with you guys. Nobody with question? Nobody with contribution? All right, Esther, thank you for your contribution the other time. I think
Thank
almost
you.
every one of us are having network issues tonight. Chris have been joining and coming back, leaving, joining, leaving, joining. And I know that is network. So I'm not even sure I will continue with the other classes tonight. I have to reschedule them for tomorrow in the afternoon. Seems the network is very good in the afternoon. The classes we had in the afternoon were perfect. All right, thank you for joining. And thank you for your resilience, irrespective of the issue we're having with network. You guys still stayed. Thank you, and have a wonderful night rest.